Hello everyone, and thank you for joining XROM podcast, a platform to showcase and shape India's XR industry. I'm your host Eddie Avil. XROM was designed with the vision to shape India's AR, VR, MR growth story and to help you understand and learn about this transformational technology which holds potential to change the way we live, work and play. Delighted to have with me Mr. Harsha Kikkeri. His startup is making all the right moves in India and around the world. Holo-Suit claims to be the world's first full body motion tracking suit with haptic feedback. He's got 18 years of experience with 44 patents related to extended reality motion capture suits, aerials and ground robots. His expertise is in drones, motion planning, localization and mapping, mobile manipulation, computer vision, sensor fusion and machine learning. He has had an illustrious career and has been part of some of the top global tech companies. Currently, he is the CEO, founder of Holo-Suit. It was a lovely conversation and I hope you enjoy it too.
Harsha, let's start by when did you get into AR, VR or building this product, the Holo-Suit product? What inspired you to build this product?
Sure. So throughout my life, I was always fascinated by robots.
Right.
So I started building robots which could replicate all the human movements. So I started with robots which could hear, which could see, which could walk around, which could actually even have hands which manipulated stuff, right? So throughout my life, I was building robots which would learn from humans. They would observe how humans would make coffee, bake bagels, do all this stuff, and then they would learn from it. And then over a period of time, what I realized was that actually, instead of making robots learn from humans, like there is so much that humans are actually in need of mentoring and coaching.
Right,
The best way to do that would be to actually use these machines and robots to teach humans, so that we can skill them. So you all hear about machine learning all the time. So now we are actually entering the era of machine teaching, wherein the machines have learned enough. They have been students long enough. Now they have actually graduated to be teachers, and they are actually amalgamating the best around the world. And the best way to teach it is virtual, because the cost is very low. Because you can just do it once and then you can replicate it worldwide with zero cost. So you have so that's what excited me, because I said this is the best way wherein all the humans around the world can actually start learning and innovating, because for very low cost. Because right now, if you want to build like a spaceship, you can't really go and build it in the real world because it will take millions of dollars.
Exactly.
But we can do this virtually. So we are building all the building blocks and teaching kids how to build spaceships, how to build robots.
Oh, wow.
That is the concept, that virtually it is very, very cost effective.
Right. Super. So your tagline on LinkedIn, is super exciting. It says building the Ready Player One suit. So, do tell me more about that. Yeah?
Sure. So as I started getting excited about this like machine teaching and like teaching all these things, one of the things that I realized was that the interface for XR was broken, because just like in the original days of smartphone, when you had like these keypads and you had the stylus, and it was very difficult to interact with a smartphone, if you remember. But then when Apple came out with this like iPhone which allowed your fingers to naturally interact with the 2D surface, that changed the game. Now we have billions of smartphones. Anybody is able to use it. So we are in the same phase with respect to this XR industry, wherein you have like different controllers, you have like different gestures. It is too difficult for normal people, not even normal people, even the advanced people. They find it very tiring. Like previously you used to have like this the ability to actually interact is actually diminishing. So now what we said was, what if we actually brought the body also into the virtual world? Because everybody is so focused on just bringing in the mind and the vision into the virtual, but the body is parallelized. And what I see is like we were initially like watching TV and we were like couch potatoes. Then we started like looking at our mobile phones and twiddling our iPads and became like from couch potatoes we became slouch potatoes. And then what happened was that we had this like VR thing, now we are not even moving like anything. We are just like looking around and moving around, bumping into things. So we became ouch potatoes. We are just like running blind. So I said, but this technology of XR has so much potential.
Right.
So I said, if only we could bring our body into it, and whatever we did in the virtual world mapped one-on-one to the real world, wherein if I move my fingers in the real world, in the virtual also it should move. In the real world, if I am actually going and bowling, in the virtual also the avatar should bowl. Then what happens is, see, right now what is happening is you can actually play cricket virtually using these controllers with Sachin Tendulkar, and you can kick his ass. Right? He will not be able to, like a 5-year-old kid or a 10-year-old kid can like beat Sachin Tendulkar. But if both of them are wearing Holo-Suit and they actually virtually like play against each other, then because it is actually capturing the natural body movements, then Sachin Tendulkar will still win. Because he will be able to bat properly, and it will capture exactly how he hit, and they will be able to see how he hit, analyze it, and these guys can now start learning from Yuvraj Singh, from Sachin Tendulkar, from Gary Custon. All these people are actually going to be the virtual mentors. So this machine teaching is going to actually collect data from all these people and start adapting it to your body, so that it will identify your weaknesses. Let's say you are actually very bad at short ball. So in the virtual world, it will put a short ball. It will keep putting the short ball, because virtual world we can repeat it any number of times accurately, So now you will start learning better to handle what. And let's say this is an oval pitch. So we'll actually use machine learning to actually simulate this pitch. Similarly for for any sport, like archery or tennis or football, every sport like we can actually have. In fact, we are already working with like the Olympic gold medalists in US, as well as for beach ball, as well as with the Canadian Olympic teachers for skating, on how do we actually take this type of technology and help them improve their movements.
Lovely, superb. I mean, the use cases of the product that you've built is across sports, training, healthcare. So it's super awesome, and I do understand what your desire and vision to build this. Because I guess it's time we are gonna move away from, like you rightly said, from just being stuck onto our phones or 2D medium to interacting with 3D medium, and that's where you come in and with your bodysuit, and actually it collects data, and the use cases are humongous. So it's super awesome what you're built. And what are your views on Project Solly, what Google is doing, the radar chip? Would that also kind of push that? Because at this point in time, still we are stuck onto like our phones, right? Would the Project Solly, where you can interact with the radar detection chip that they inside, would that be simultaneously kind of push drive the ecosystem what you're working on?
Yes. So actually, like that is a very relevant point. So the idea is everybody understands that human movement is critical. Understanding it and using it and making it natural is critical. Different people have taken different ways of going about it. So like remember, like I actually worked on the original Kinect as well, which was actually detecting your body movement, and now we are trying to go with like this Project Solly, which is trying to detect it. But I have not really seen how well it works, because the most important point is how natural and easy it is to use. So I cannot really comment about something till I have actually experienced it. But definitely this is the future where people are trying to like make it very easy to interact using your natural body movements. So I wouldn't actually go for like the thing which I personally do not like is even with Project Solly, the problem is they still have a 2D UI and then they are trying to do this 3D thing, which becomes a little bit difficult. What I would rather have is a 3D UI and a 3D interface, There, if they use Solly to do the 3D thing, perfect. But if they have like a 2D UI and then the 3D thing, it becomes like the Kinect again, where It becomes a little bit difficult because what you are seeing is only 2D, but what you are trying to interact is a 3D. So that is
completely. I get that, but I guess eventually all the 2D mediums are going to fade out because the way the future is moving, where we are entering the spatial computing era. So I guess eventually, this is those small possibly things which is going to go on and lead on to the larger this thing. So the use cases which you're mentioning about your cricket and your Olympic, could you talk about it a little bit more?
Sure. So basically, right now we are focusing on 5 different use cases where we have a lot of traction happening. So one is obviously the sports and thing which we already mentioned, and it can be extended to baseball, whatever.
Since we are going to sports, the cricket, we can go one by one.
Sure.
So these end users who have used it, what the data, what's been collected, how useful it has been with professional point of view. For example, the ones supposing if Yuvraj is a backer, and I'm assuming these cricketers who are using this, how useful it has been in the training.
We are in the process of doing that, so I would not really comment anything on something that we are in the process, but everybody is very excited because this is the first time they are able to get such data. Previously, they were not able to get this data. So now what we are doing is we are getting this data, analyzing it, and building this AI, and also building this virtual coaching thing where now anywhere in the world they can actually visualize. So for example, Gary Custon is sitting in South Africa, but now he has his centers all around the world, and in all those centers we can put this Holo-Suit and have him analyze it, because we are actually very happy to work with coaches. Similarly, we are looking at Stefan Jones. He saw this and he is very excited. Rajasthan Royals coach, because he can now analyze the bowling motion. So definitely there is a lot of potential, but there's also a lot of work to do. These are very early stages, and I think similarly, as I told, the Olympic skating and the basketball, baseball, these are all opportunities for us to significantly, this is one interface platform which can be applied across all the sports, because ultimately it's about your human body motion, whether it's karate, yoga, because the underlying platform is the same. And you can apply it to 100 different sports. And also even Indian Olympics team, track and field, javelin throw. So all those places we can actually kind of optimize and improve, because everywhere else we have been lagging behind in technology. Now we are actually going to leapfrog. That is my hope, that we can actually put this technology to use in India first, because it's a made in India product. And then kind of take it globally.
Completely. And it makes us all feel very proud that we have a product which is on the cusp of going globally. So congratulations on that, and wish you more success on that. And I'm excited about when you collect so much data, you are pushing that sports person to become better and better and better. So are we just going to have really all, because eventually it could start with smaller these sports institute, which when you collect data, you analyze the data, you're improving those sports people continuously. So it's a great thing. Tell me more about the haptic feedback part and the haptic. What is the...
Yes. So what we have is if you use a phone, basically there is something called the tactile feedback, where it vibrates and gives you information back. So any interface, it is bidirectional is what is very useful, right? So right now, what happens is okay, the body motion is tracked, but how do you know? Let's say you hit a stroke. How do you know whether you hit it properly or not? Let's say you are doing a golf swing. How do you know whether your back was proper or not? The problem is if you go and onto the field, and if you are wearing this Holo-Suit, and if you are swinging, you won't be even wearing this XR is also, there is one more part of XR called real reality, where you don't wear any headset at all,
Right.
where you go in the real world and you use wearables to actually track your movements.
Right.
And now through haptic feedback, let's say you actually your hand was actually improperly positioned,
Right.
it will actually vibrate
Exactly.
here.
Train
It's
better.
like, so
Right.
wherever things are like incorrect, immediately, instantaneously you'll get a feedback, so that the next stroke you can
Lovely.
actually improve.
Lovely.
So over a period of like over all your body in
Right.
3D, now you have haptic feedback. So you will get information saying that whether you did the stroke properly or you could have improved, in which direction you could have improved. So all that naturally like
data is
this,
collected.
yeah, you're because this is like muscle memory, right?
Right.
The moment you do something incorrectly, if it
Right.
vibrates, then over a period of time you'll start becoming better and better, and you will not make that mistake,
Right.
rather than going back, seeing something, and then it the cycle, we want to shorten it.
Right. Interesting. It's so very awesome. I mean, I'm just so very excited about the product that you're building. Now, there are internationally, there are a couple of these haptic feedback suits. There one is Tesla suit. There's Haptics, and there's a couple of other ones. Can you share more detail on this neuro rehab?
Sure.
thing? So how do they collect data? Normally, I mean, if you're collecting any cognitive data, that means you have to have an EEG device or stuff like. So how does that?
Yes. So there are two parts to it.
Right.
See, one is like, of course, the EEG and all, which
Right.
we will be doing. But
Right.
more importantly, we will have like a VR experience wherein we are gamifying their learning thing.
Right.
So like whenever they kind of come to the right now, like if they come, we will have them like they have to do just some exercises, and they're very bored because
Right.
they need to keep doing this very boring thing.
Right.
But now with Holo-Suit, we are kind of virtualizing their entire training
Right.
and automatically analyzing where their movements are restricted using the Holo-Suit, and then creating custom games which will actually target those areas.
Right.
And I together with the physiotherapist,
Right.
so that these guys can actually have fun. They can play cricket, they can play basketball,
Lovely.
they can play football, all these different games they are playing,
Right.
and getting rehabilitated at the same time.
Lovely.
So this kind of really, I mean, one of the best things, we also have robots. They
Right.
actually, like one of the kids, he would never do any of these exercises.
Right.
We actually took like a humanoid robot
Right.
and had this Holo-Suit control that humanoid robot. The moment he saw that, he started moving his hands, and then we put the suit on him, and then he would not let go of the suit. He just was so happy. He would do all the exercises for half an hour. He was just like having fun. We had to literally take the suit out of him. So that is the
are you saying with your suit you're controlling a robot? Is that
Yes,
what you're
yes,
saying?
yes, of
So
course.
you can remotely control a
yes,
robot.
yes,
And,
yeah,
wow,
yeah, yeah,
excellent.
yeah. So
Excellent.
that actually leads us to our next use case,
Right.
which is in terms of like any
Emergency,
dangerous
dangerous situations.
emergency, right?
Right.
Where any, like if you are in, for example, oil and natural gas,
Right,
right?
right.
So in Oman and many other places, they are actually very much interested in kind of safety.
Brilliant.
Both training the workers for safety
Right.
as well as having these robots controlled remotely.
Right.
Where now I was actually part of, I mean, throughout my life I was building robots. I have
Right.
44 patents on all
Right.
these things. So as you know, that kind of gave me an idea of like, how do we actually save human lives,
Right.
both by training them to be safer,
Right.
workplace safety, plus having robots remotely controlled, for example, for bomb disposal. So many different
Yeah,
use cases,
yeah.
right? Our army can benefit. In fact, Indian Defense DRU has already
Right.
bought the Holo-Suit. I'm
Right,
very
right.
happy to
Lovely.
say that
Lovely.
like we are working very closely
Lovely.
on many of these like industrial partners
Right.
who are supplying to these like defense organizations, military and other training, even police. Even our home minister and current defense minister, Mr. Rajnath Singh,
Right.
honorable minister, he had visited and he tried out
Lovely.
Holo-Suit.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah. So we're very happy that government is supporting us quite a
Lovely.
bit.
Lovely, super. So I'm really excited about this remote control. I mean, where you can remotely control a robot. Eventually, when the robots get so the fidelity becomes good with the robot, then obviously the use cases are humongous. I mean, you could send them remotely control it and send it to the most dangerous situation. Yeah. So brilliant. I mean, so I am like a big proponent, or I've been pushing. I mean, I feel that. Full dive VR is what I got into VR for, that's what excited me. And I mean, though that's like maybe like a 15 years away from now, but right now with your Holo-Suit, one could actually feel the virtual. So the immediate use cases for like entertainment, gaming, I mean, one could just experience all that. So do you have, besides the tactile, do you have temperature?
Yes, so the haptic and motion are the first sensors that we added. Of course, like we are actually building, like next would be both sensing of the temperature, sensing of heart rate, sensing of blood pressure, excitement, plus having like LEDs which actually indicate this externally, your mood, plus also giving like not just temperature feedback where the temperature can change, it become hot and cold, but also force feedback where we will have like an exoskeleton which will actually limit your movements as well, so that if you are holding a mic in the virtual world, your hands cannot actually go inside. So we are working already with like many such use cases where in fact Mars Academy, which is actually sending like medics, avatar medics to space, they are partnering with us, and recently we actually partnered with XPrize, which is a $10 million challenge.
In fact, they were building, there's something like that in the similar lines, right?
That. So it's a $10 million challenge to build a humanoid, and we are their official vendors, where all around the world, Holo-Suit will be used to control these humanoid robots. So we have been like fortunate enough that we will be mentoring all these teams already from Japan. So I went to Switzerland and met all these teams, and we presented this, and they were very happy. And so many teams are now partnering with us, including like from Europe, from Japan, from Switzerland.
Brilliant. So the ones who don't know about XPrize is something which has been run by Singularity University, where Peter Diamandis runs the program, and he's trying to build this program where a competition where people can eventually create a remote controlled where you can remote control a robot. So very
robot.
Happy to know that you are one of the vendors. So congratulations on that. That's brilliant. That's extremely, it makes us proud, that somebody from India is doing some really cool stuff. So what is the difference between, I'd gotten online, you've got two products at this point in time. One is the Holo-Suit
Pro and the Holo-Suit Stand.
Could you kind of give...
Sure. See, like the Pro is the full-fledged version, right? So it has 40 sensors throughout the body. It has haptic feedback, 9 haptic feedback points. So it comes with like the jacket with head extension, so it can track your head also. Plus it comes with 2 gloves with all the 5 fingers being completely tracked. So like 24 sensors in even the hand is tracked. Plus the pant tracks all your like the feet. Plus we also have an extension for kind of like how your foot moves. So everything is tracked from the head to toe. We are tracking everything, and we are providing haptic feedback everywhere. So the nice thing about that full-fledged solution is now in any animation movie or anything that you are doing, so you just wear it and then suddenly you can become Spider-Man, and you can start controlling Spider-Man. We even have multiple buttons here where you can press these buttons and you can start shooting spider webs. And virtually that can, like, this is going to change the movie industry.
It's just going to, just to think about, please, I'm so very sorry for interrupting. Please go on.
Because any indie producer on YouTube, can now just use this and then start like a mixed reality capture of this, where he will be capturing himself or herself, and then automatically all these different things will get superimposed on that captured thing in real time, instantaneously. So somebody can become Wolverine, and then like somebody can, so there will be 3 or 4 people wearing it and doing this fight, and that will be actually captured with this superimposed like XR. The character, where they will, whatever they are doing in the real world, and because it is actually XR, it will also start interacting with the remaining world. So let's say you like throw like a spider will go and it will stick to this because it knows where this wall is. So this is the future where it's going to be unbelievable. In fact, we have partnered with One Digital Entertainment as well as Zenga TV, who are the pioneers in this, who have like millions of followers, and we will be also creating hologram technology where you can now interact using the Holo-Suit with these holograms.
Wow, lovely.
So this is the Holo-Suit Pro, which basically has 40 sensors. And also 8 buttons which you will be able to interact virtually. So then like the idea is that because it covers the entire body, you get the full-fledged experience with the Holosuit Pro for animation purposes. But there are other purposes, for example, in factory training, where you might not need so many, you may not need to track all these other fingers. So in the Holosuit standard version, you will get like the ability to track 2 of the fingers. So you can go and pick things up and manipulate them or move them around. So you'll get like 2 finger tracking. Plus, you don't get like the head extension or the feet extension, because here you're mostly interacting with stuff. You're not doing full-fledged animation. So any person who wants like a cheaper version of the Holosuit for doing these specific activities can use this, and the developers can develop more applications on top of it, because we have an SDK which supports Unreal and Unity, and we are going to be adding a lot of other platforms. So this is an SDK which can be used on any device, right? On your phone, on your laptop, on your Mac, on any HoloLens, Magic Leap, Oculus Quest. So it supports all the platforms. So now these developers can start building solutions on top of it, and then like if they need like the full body, then they can go for the Pro version.
Lovely. So when you started on Kickstart. But right now, I mean, you have people like Yuvraj Singh, who's one of the backers, and could you tell me more about the advisors and the backers?
Sure.
I mean, and how the transition has been, because I mean, as an entrepreneur, the journey, I mean, once you start on Kickstarter, pushing yourself, and right now where you are one of the like really well-funded immersive tech startup in India. So
thank you. So in fact, I have been most fortunate. I mean, the best thing that has happened for Holo-Suit is the people that we have been able to attract, and I have taken their advice. So for example, like very early on, like Sudhir Kadam from USA, like he's an IIT Kharagpur alumni, like who came on our board of advisors, and he runs Bootstrap Ventures, and so he has been able to help us quite a bit in our strategy. Then we had like Ramesh Verma, who is like an IIT Delhi alumni. So he actually heads the AR/VR Association in Delhi. So he really kind of helped us expand our scope. Then we got on board like Shabir Momin, like who actually is the founder of Zenga TV, and that really kickstarted, and of course they brought in Yuvraj Singh, and over a period of time, then we got like Biren Ghosh, like the head of Technicolor India. He has actually come on board, and similarly we have had like the professor of Stanford University, Jeremy, which we mentioned, who has also come on board. And we have like on our board like the Corey Wiseman. So he is the guy you might have remembered, like 800 crore Modi hologram thing. So he is actually on our board. So he is actually worked with all the top like Hollywood celebrities. So he actually is one of the top talent managers in US, including Steven Spielberg. In fact, recently I had the Ready Player One mocap and VFX guy. He tried Holo-Suit.
Oh wow!
So he is very fascinated. So he is also going to be working very closely with us.
Lovely, super. Could you share more light on the curriculum that you said you're building?
Sure. So the curriculum will have multiple parts. So the idea is like we have something at the lowest level where kids can come, and we have real robots. So the kids will actually program real robots, real circuits, but all that programming is taught virtually. So first they will actually use this Holo-Suit to go into this virtual world and learn how to do these things, and then they will go to the real world and start building this, and then they will swap back and forth. So now the kids, because they will get attracted to these real robots which will be moving around, having lights and everything, so they get attracted, and then like once they come here, then they start learning how to build such robots themselves, how to do the mechanical design, how to innovate. The thing is, we want our kids to build the next generation. Right now, till now, what is happening is we are only telling them how to build what was already there. What we are creating is a virtual platform where now they can come and build their own stuff. So we are going to build only the underlying like infrastructure which will give them enough knowledge, and in this virtual world they will be able to actually put together everything they build in the virtual world will actually have a physical counterpart. So and it will have these simulations which run run, which will verify that whatever they have done in the virtual world is actually possible in the real world.
Right.
So with this 1:1 mapping, the moment they finish something in the virtual world, they will know that, okay, this is something that they can take to the real world and build it, and they will have that confidence. And once they keep closing this loop, the idea is over a period of time, we may have only 2 or 3 real world things, but thousands of virtual trainings happening. And this allows people, like, we are going to incentivize the kid that if you want to go to the real world, first you have to complete the virtual world.
Right.
So everybody will start getting incentivized to start learning more and more, understanding more and more. Gamification of education at the highest level.
Brilliant. Because I guess that's what's lacking in the education field, where we gamify stuff and make it so interesting. Because you're in the virtual world, you're not wasting anything, right? There's no cost whatsoever. You can iterate and keep on building, on this stuff. So interesting. I think it's a brilliant platform that you're doing.
So let me come back to the next level.
Right,
so
right,
next,
right.
what we are going to do is we are going to create virtual hackathons,
Right,
where
right.
people can take like this virtual Arduino, virtual circuits, and we are creating this entire network where at the
Right.
higher level, 8th grade onwards,
Right.
they can actually understand electronics, mechanics, programming, and every program they build, they can first run it in the virtual world. They can fly virtual drones,
Right.
and once they've deployed it on the virtual world, they can deploy it on our drones.
Right.
Even if they don't have access to real drones there, we will be able to provide them ability to run it on our lab,
Right.
where they can actually see these drones virtually,
Right.
real drones flying in the virtual platform.
Right.
And then they can actually buy these drones and start playing around with themselves, because now they have the confidence.
Right.
So like this, the idea is over a period of time, any place, any institute in India or anywhere in the world, for less than ₹1,00,000, what we want to do is give them the entire world's knowledge.
Right,
So
right.
if Google's mission was to basically see, what we are trying to do is virtualize the world's information,
Right,
and make it not just universally accessible, but also universally interactive, so that they can add and build to this. So for example, let's say somebody has some very interesting idea of we can design a car in this way, or design a spaceship in this way. We have created something called virtualmakers.org,
Right.
where now, just like Maker Faire was there, where you're allowed to do physical things, but unfortunately it closed down because it is too expensive to do it in the real world.
Right.
So what we are doing is we have created a virtual Maker Faire,
Right.
where people will be able to go and start building stuff in the virtual world for zero cost.
Right.
And then that, because it will have the same corresponding physical reality, so as it becomes better, let's say somebody builds a beautiful Game of Thrones thing, right? Like a sword.
Right.
Then somebody else says, oh, I want it in the real world. And somebody else can say, oh, I can build it in the real world. So we are creating this beautiful XR ecosystem where people can start kind of expressing themselves for very low cost and learn things. I mean, the idea here is to, a picture is worth 1,000 words.
Right.
A video is worth 1,000 pictures.
Right.
A 3D video is worth 1,000 2D videos, and an interactive immersive 3D video is worth 1,000 3D videos. And we are building all the content as an interactive 3D video, where now people will be able to go and interact and build stuff.
Right.
And then, of course, it will automatically degrade to 3D video, it will degrade to 2D video, it will degrade to something that you can do with the touch screen. So, because we are creating form at the highest level, 3D is what is the highest level, right? Your body can only move in 3D, you can't go in 4D.
Right.
So if you build content in that, then we can easily downscale to any level that you want.
Right. Now, the last, maybe the question of the day, we have these lots of startups, developers who are getting into either building products or developing something, or setting up a startup. What would be your advice, to go about?
Find the right people. The most important thing for you is find really good mentors and really good team members and really good partners. Because don't look at the business side of things first. Look at building the right team, building the right culture, because this is going to last for lifetime.
Right.
The products maybe 1 year, 2 year, who knows? In 2 years, this may look very different. It may be completely different, right? We may even go for a different technology, whatever.
Right.
But the team that you build, the partnerships, the relations you build, so that is going to be very critical.
Right.
That is the only thing which has helped me sustain for so long, and actually really given me the power to now use this thing. So ultimately look at it this way. Is the world going to be better with this product or not?
Right.
If it is just about making money, there are 1,000 ways of making money.
Right.
Entrepreneurship is actually a hard way, very hard way of making money. You can actually do like things much easier in different ways. So, but if you really want to change the world, then entrepreneurship is the best way, and be in it for the long term. Because if you think short term, like it's very hard to achieve success.
Right. There's so much that I have taken from this, and I'm sure you must have taken so much from this conversation that I've had with Harsha Kikkeri. Just to end, is there any final thing that you would want to say, or any future vision or moonshot that you have?
Sure. So like one of the things that like our team is really dreaming about is that, like, can we build an ecosystem where any person who is interested in learning anything can come into this ecosystem and be first learn it and then teach it to the next guy, right? So we are looking for people who are really passionate about anything. It could be anything, but we want to understand how we can virtualize it and how we can kind of also, there are some very interesting things that we are working on. For example, there are some limitations. For example, if you are walking in the real world right now, you cannot really be walking for too long in the real world without you hitting the wall. And that is a big thing. And we have come up with a very interesting, intriguing solution. So maybe in the next podcast, I can also teaser for the team. But thank you very much for having me and Holo-Suit over here. I really look forward to your journey as well as an entrepreneur on creating this XROM platform.
Thank you, Harsha. It's a pleasure to have you, a pleasure and honor to have you, because you are definitely one of the person who is building India's XR industry. And I personally have taken so much from this. I mean, I stand inspired by Harsha's journey from where he started back in 2016 till now. I'm going to have all the information of Harsha down below. You can connect with him on his social network, LinkedIn pages. I'll have all his information. And if you like this, please press the subscribe button. And I'm going to catch you guys next time. Yeah. Cheers. See you guys. Bye.